ways you can work around things to improve things, and it just seems like they're not trying to do that.
I think they're a good unit, obviously led by Victor Wembanyama.
Experience as a good head coach, like in the past 12 years ago when they won the Super Bowl.
32 to 38 in an absolute thriller. Play after play. Touchdown after touchdown.
My family was just in complete disappointment.
Wanted to be a Philly, which is insane.
We saw the big thing after we first drafted him was that three-point shot. Obviously, he's drained that down, so we can't even really complain.
My team, so it's been really cool.
I'm definitely not a special guest. I'm a guest on a special podcast. That's what it is.
Yo, what's good, ladies and gentlemen? Hope you all are doing well here on this Saturday afternoon. Welcome back to another episode of Two Mics All Sports. I'm your host, Zachary JB, joined by my co-host, Joe Burrow, and joined by a special guest, Justin. What's going on, man?
What's going on, Zach? What's going on, Joe? Excited to finally be back on here. You know, it's always good. It's always good to come back and talk some sports.
So before we get started, if you guys have noticed in our past few episodes, we have a new intro that we've been using, and I thought I'd bring on the man himself who created this intro. And Justin, do you want to talk about the process and how you were able to bring such a good intro to the channel?
Absolutely. So, I was just chilling in my college dorm, just doing work per usual, when Zach kind of hit me up and said, yo, I have an opportunity for you to work on. I was kind of thinking about, like, getting a couple clips from some of my videos together, and then you can do, like, go into, like, your little session or DAW software that you use and kind of make, like roughly, like, 30, 40 seconds worth of audio and just put it there. So I said, okay, I'll give it a shot. And then I went into my software, got a couple loops together. It was only the first demo that I did. I sent it to him. He automatically fell in love with it. And that's the audio that you hear. And then for the videos wise, I did it all on CapCut, had some stuff all shorted out, and just put some transitions through it, and had like 3 alternate intros to go along with it, sent them all to him, and voila, that's what you get. So I'm really thankful for this opportunity, and Zach, I think this is a start for the both of us for our future careers. So
Yeah, I totally agree. It was great, and once he sent me that first one, I knew that it was pretty great. And then, like you said, he sent a couple alternate ones. So you might see those thrown around every now and then. So, but yeah, once he showed me, then I knew it had to be used, and I appreciate it once again for you doing it. So, but
yeah,
they turned out really well. Thank you.
Always a pleasure.
But in today's video, obviously the WBC is now over, and we came on here to give a recap of the entire tournament from pool stages to semifinals to quarterfinals, because me and Joe kind of talked about it in our March Madness thing. And anyone who's joining that, good luck the rest of the way for that. Obviously, there's been some crazy matchups, but in today's video with the WBC, we're just going to be talking about the tournament as a whole and some of the main stuff that happened during this tournament that we're going to talk about here. So first, I have thing for you guys is obviously I'm going to give you one of the surprises of the whole tournament was Italy. Obviously, they went undefeated in their pool stage, knocking off USA and Mexico in back-to-back games, and took it all the way to the semifinals, which they were eventually knocked off by Venezuela. What were your thoughts on them in the tournament, and how much of a surprise they were to the tournament as a whole?
I'll start. Obviously, Italy, going into the tournament, the big names were obviously USA with all the all-star and power behind the bats, the pitching staff. Then the Dominican Republic are always good. Then you always get Japan with Shohei. And a lot of these other countries like Italy, Venezuela, even Mexico, they are the low-riding countries compared to the all-star lineups that the USA and all them have. So it's good to see Italy shine with the people they had, especially Nola. Nola is the biggest shocker out of this tournament going in pitching wise, especially with the year he had last year for the Phillies. Going into this World Baseball Classic, he had a lot to prove, and I think he showed up for Italy. And big ups to them for making it to the semifinal and almost beating out Venezuela. If it wasn't for a few mistakes that they had themselves, they could have definitely been back in that championship against USA. And who knows, depending on who pitched, they could have easily won based off what we saw in the pool round against the United States.
Yeah. I'll just give my thoughts. I'm kind of like piggybacking off of what Joe said here. Shout out to Venezuela. I honestly thought they were like complete underdogs this entire tournament. Good lineup, good rotation within Ranger Suarez, Rodriguez. But yeah, they won it all, honestly. They had a lot of momentum going into this tournament, hyping each other up in the dugout. Yeah, they just showed up and played, and they fought for their country. God was with them the entire time, said Eugenio Suarez. That was big motivation for them. Other teams I could have saw winning this, Dominican Republic, their lineup's just absolutely insane, gross. Like Juan Soto, Fernando Tatis, Manny Machado, Julio Rodriguez, like you cannot make that up. That is a really heavy hitting lineup. Pitching as well. Christopher Sanchez, we already know his game. He's Cy Young finalist. He's gonna shine. He did that. Luis Severino, he was okay from time to time. But it came like close for them as they lost to the United States 2-1. Honestly, they should have won in my opinion. I know United States was a very good team overall. I saw them being another winner in my opinion. They just had a very good lineup. Schwarber, Harper, Will Smith, Aaron Judge, their captain. Good starting pitching all year round. I know you had Tarek Skubal. He only made one start, unfortunately. Paul Skeens, Nolan McLean. Just good all year round, but they obviously fell short in the end, again, to Venezuela. Italy, on the other hand, this was a team I did not expect, honestly, because, pitching was great. Obviously, you got Nola looking like he was like in his prime again. So if that's the Nola you're going to see out of the World Baseball Classic, what are you going to see when it comes to the regular season when he plays for the Phillies? He's just got to have that same gut going into this regular season. So yeah, Italy was really good overall. I think I liked how their offense showed, their defense, very good. Some other teams, Japan, they've been good, honestly. You got Otani. No explanation on him. He's picking up where he left off. Yamamoto, you got to add some credit on his name because he was looking dangerous overall. And I think he's still going to be like one of the most dominant pitchers going into this regular season in a week. So yeah. Other teams though, Mexico, Puerto Rico, Korea, I just didn't really see them making it anywhere, honestly. It was cool that they played, but nothing really crazy to like just bring shock out of me. But yeah, overall, congrats to Venezuela. This was a really surprising outcome, but Venezuela, just complete underdogs, went in and won it all for their country. So congrats to them.
Yeah, no, definitely. Big props to Venezuela. I think they were definitely a team that they were together and they had the power of friendship that took them all the way to the championship. But I was talking about Italy, like Joe mentioned. You had guys who really stepped up. Shout out to Dante Nori, Phillies prospect. He was amazing in the
Dominant.
WBC. And then you had guys like Jack Caglione, Vidi Pasquantino. So that for Royals fans, they got to be through the roof right now, the way those two played in the WBC. And it's just these guys stepping up when they needed to. And Italy, like, everyone thought like USA, it wasn't going to be like a runaway, but USA would have controlled the first spot in the pool stage, and they even finished with that. And it's like Italy, big props to them. And I find it hilarious that like when they're interviewing half these guys, like they went and interviewed Aaron Nola before he went to play for WBC. He said he's never been to Italy before, and it's like half these guys weren't even born there, which I find very hilarious. But still, it's like these guys had a purpose in everything they did, and also Dominic Canzone, he was really great for them too. And it's just they had a purpose in everything they did, and you could see it on the field. Italy, they won in very many different styles, and just at the end of the day, it came up short in the semifinals. But at the end of the day, they have nothing to be disappointed about, and I'm really excited what they're going to have to offer in a few years down the road if they can maybe add some players, if they continue to get better. So, but moving on from that, obviously you mentioned the Dominican Republic when you were talking about them, Justin. They looked dominant, but they weren't able to get the job done. Like, what do you think happened with them?
Yeah, mainly the reason was the home plate umpire. I know he has been like god awful this entire tournament, missing balls and strikes up and down, left to right. Like you can't miss those calls. At this point, you might as well just put the ABS system in the next 3 years because honestly, it's just a complete joke. Your offense just comes in looking completely dominant this entire tournament, and then you just cost them the loss because of Mason Miller. Like, yeah, I know he's a good closing pitcher, but Will Smith framed that last pitch and then obviously sent them to the finals against Venezuela. But, that was a team that like strove for greatness. They had all momentum as well. They had a solid offense, solid starting rotation, but then just fell short, I think, just because of some like controversies between home plate. Soto was upset. Gerald Perdomo had a few words. Just didn't look good for Dominican Republic after that. I think that one's definitely gonna come back and bite them for sure. USA, I want to talk about their offense. They didn't look as good as I thought they looked up. I mean, Aaron Judge, like, I know you're the captain, but you're the leader of this team, dude. You got to step up and you got to, like, get some hits. You're, like, one of the best hitters in the league, and you're just swinging and missing. Like, you can't do that, dude. But, yeah, I think, yeah, it was, and at the end, it was 2-1. Yeah, just not the ending Dominican Republic won it, but just fought to the end. USA, on the other hand, they also, again, just good starting lineup. Didn't have as much hits as I thought they would. Paul Skeens went out there and he dominated as well. Only gave up the one home run. But yeah, just fell short at the end. You can make up some controversy for Dominican Republic. I honestly feel for them because they should have went further, in my opinion. Maybe even beaten the USA as well. But, in the end, it is what it is, and USA moved on to face Venezuela.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Like, coming down on a wire, it's especially you feel as a Phillies fan, especially last year against the Dodgers, that pitch with Sanchez, man, that could have definitely changed the outcome of the game. But you're taught. I played baseball growing up, especially when I was a catcher. You're taught to frame pitches wherever they're close, and you're taught with two strikes, the strike zone does expand. So as a batter, you kind of got to know. But at the same time, the umpires got to be better. That ball wasn't nearly as close to the strike zone as you saw. And I do think the ABS challenge system will be in the next World Baseball Classic. You've seen it. You're going to see it this year. It was used in the minors last year. Obviously, it was effective enough for them to now include it into the regular season this year. So definitely will be in the WBC in 3 years. But you also can't judge the fact that the umpire was terrible the entire night. I feel like his strike zone didn't change. You should have known, like, the calls were going both ways. So by the ninth inning, you should know the umpire strike zone by then. But it was a ball. You got to feel for them. Like, that's a terrible way to go out on a terrible missed call, especially with how good of a game that was. With J. Rod robbing that homer in center field a couple innings prior, they definitely had the momentum. But then you also got to think the game was 2-1. You had opportunities throughout the game to score more runs, and you cost them yourselves. And then you had simple mistakes made that could have also changed the outlook of the game. But you can't say that Mason Miller wasn't dominant on that pitcher's mound. Who knows what would have happened if that was called a ball? He could have struck out on the next pitch. But yeah, the DR, man, that was a really stud talented team. And they were running off of pure vibes and fun. Like, whenever a big hit or a home run happened, it was like a party was going on in that dugout. That's something I fear the USA did not have. We did not have. They went there for a mission. And I feel like even if you look at the hockey team was having fun the entire time. You got to be able to have fun and still attain the main objective. If you're too serious, I feel that nothing will get accomplished and you're just too tense. As like you said, Judge, he struggled, especially in the finals. And fucking Harper, yeah. People are like, "Oh, that home run was so great." What about the 5, 6 games prior to that when he didn't get a single fucking hit.
Yeah, I feel like that homer itself is like going to be the most forgettable for that entire thing. And then just because Eugenio Suarez right after with the RBI double. So, yeah, that was
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah, so you can't really a lot of mistakes, but definitely the ABS will be a big factor and a big decision maker, especially after a lot of the blown calls made. And we're going to see how effective it will be this year in the regular season and how it could change the outlook of games. Because we saw with the pitch clock how that could change the effect of the game. So I think it would definitely be use, and it's just a sad way to go after the DR for how good of a tournament they were playing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the DR was one of those teams where it's like, don't be surprised if they make a championship run, and they were that close. And it's like I do like the point that you bring up. It's that they had plenty of opportunities, and it was such a surprise because USA was very iffy with their pitching pass ball schemes and Tarek Skubal for that one game he pitched, and DR was coming off a heater where they scored 10 runs, and you could just see that they figured out how to like neutralize it. But at the same time, it's like when that game's that close, and I think this is what happens. It's like when these games are this close, that's when usually the umpire plays a hand in the game, and that's where you got to figure out how to get out of the situations. If you're in the 6th, 7th inning, get a pinch hitter in there that you know can maybe get a timely hit, then set the top of your lineup, then you can get runs. Because that's exactly what Venezuela did to Italy. They scored 3 runs in the 7th inning to prevail. It made the 9th inning not even a question, because before that it was 2-1 Italy, but then they scored 3 runs to make it 4-2 and win the game. So that's why I think that sucks for the Dominican Republic, but it's also unavoidable. You just got to be able to have timely hitting, and I know it's tough. You can have the up and down games, please. We've seen it plenty with the Phillies, the up and down games, and it does suck for the DR because they were one of those special teams. It was like a party and watching them every game. Then especially when they hit a home run, which was huge. But then at the same time, you got to be able to control what you can control, and they just weren't able to do it in a timely manner, and unfortunately ended in a unfortunate manner. But next, I want to talk about easily one of the favorites going into this tournament. Japan was completely shell-shocked by Venezuela in one of the biggest upsets we've seen in WBC, and they were left very disappointed. Where do you think they go from here after winning it in 23 and now being eliminated before the semifinals?
There's nowhere. If you even think that Japan is going downhill in this sport, you shouldn't have an opinion on this at all.
Well,
You are
not me.
seeing star-studded players coming out of there every year, and especially coming over from Japan. Like, you're looking at these guys at free agency, looking like who's the highest person on the market. They're probably going to the Dodgers, and we're seeing how that's working out for them. So I don't think they have anything to worry about, especially with it was Suzuki who got hurt, right?
Yeah, Suzuki.
Yeah,
Which
Suzuki got
sucks.
hurt, which was a big problem. Was a big factor, I think, for them. But you can't be mad. Like some teams have their up games, some teams have their down games. You saw it. Like you said, the DR scored 10 runs in the quarterfinal. They go to the semifinal. They only score 1. Like, you can't. You have your up and down games, but there's you shouldn't. Japan should not be worried about this next WBC. I'm sure they'll be just fine.
Yeah, honestly, I don't even think that's even a question for Japan. Like, they just been a star-stud team the entire tournament, to be honest. Like, the leadoff hitters, Ronald Acuna Jr. and Shohei Ohtani, that's one way to start off the game. Like, yeah, I don't think Ohtani's going to have any problem. He's literally the go to baseball, to be honest. Like, he's just going to go out there and give you one hell of a performance because that's just the type of guy he is. I know he didn't pitch in the World Baseball Classic, but it would have been cool to see him get a couple pitches in, maybe go a couple innings. But, at the end of the day, it's his decision. He does what's best for him. And hopefully he could have another monster season going into this MLB. I know for sure he definitely will be like the most favorited. But you have some guys in there. Yamamoto, he's another big one. He didn't play back in 2023, but he was a stud in my opinion. Nothing's wrong with him. His splitter's just nasty. He's gotten through a couple innings. Another Cy Young finalist, going into this year, World Series MVP. just going out there and dominating. Didn't look like he had his best with Venezuela going in, but Japan was able to sort of keep it close, but then just fell short to Venezuela's offense. Suzuki, yeah, I know he missed last 3 years ago in 2023 in the World Baseball Classic, but then just came back, going into the quarterfinals and immediately goes out with the sliding onto second base. So it was a tough way to go out for him, but hopefully he comes out better healthy and better ready for the Chicago Cubs come this regular season. Another one, also Yu Darvish. I think he's missing the entire season due to surgery. So it was pretty cool for Japan, pretty much all the years going into the tournament, having at least the one player's jersey hung up in the dugout to give them some motivation to just keep swinging the bats and like going hard and maybe advancing. But it didn't happen in this case. I think there's no reason Japan should not be back in a playoff spot, maybe even going further than the quarterfinals, maybe even giving them back another World Baseball Classic title. Just young guys who are willing to just go out there and just do something for the team. So we'll have to see how they move from here, but it's just no question Japan's been a dominant team all year long.
Yeah, no. And I just asked the question because I think everyone was shell shocked with them losing as early as they did, and it's like you're not going to have the same repeat winners all the time. It happens, especially with stuff like this. And I do agree that I think they should be fine. It's just what is their are they going to be completely unstoppable in a few years now that they've lost so early? And it's like what interval, what team are we going to see and stuff like that? It's because it definitely in comparison to a few years ago, a lot of those guys on Team Japan hadn't come over to the MLB yet. That was their audition, and because how they played so well, especially Murakami, the way he was able to play a few years ago, got on the contract he got with Chicago this offseason. And then you got Okamoto, who's about to play with the Toronto Blue Jays. So, and it's going to be interesting to see in a few years from now how many players on Japan's team this year possibly make it to the MLB because they weren't as crazy and stuff like that. And it's you think about it, the tournament was a lot different a few years ago. Mexico was in it when Mexico couldn't even make it out of the pool stage. And it's you find out all these interesting factors. I like the point you bring up about Ohtani not pitching this tournament. I think he'll definitely be pitching next time and it's just Japan, it's they dominated pretty well in their tournament. Ohtani was great, but then they just weren't. It's any given game. That's why these single eliminations after the pool stages are straight cinema because you don't know what's going to happen. A team like Venezuela could go in and beat a team that's Japan, who's usually dominated this, and just beat them straight out and move on to the next round. But I am interested to see how Japan responds from this a few years from now. But definitely a shocker. But I think, like you guys both mentioned, nothing to worry about. But then moving on from one juggernaut to another juggernaut, USA comes up short again. Where do they go from here, and what are you expecting out of them in a few years down the road? Now they went from a veteran standpoint back in 23. They went younger this year, and neither of them have been able to successfully bring them a championship.
Yeah, I mean, the team's going to look wildly different. I don't think Harper will be back based off age, Schwarber, age. A lot of these older guys that came for more of a seniority role, they're not good. I think Judge is going to fill that seniority role that in a couple years because he'll be up there, I think 35, 38 range there. So he'll fill that seniority role. But you just got to look. Roman Anthony really showed out. P. Crow Armstrong really showed out. You got a lot of progress from your young guys. Mason Miller threw lights out. He should have pitched that what was it, 8th or 9th inning out of the bullpen, but they wanted to save him because of some rule.
Yeah, it was the 9th inning because Harper hit his in the bottom of the 8th.
Yeah.
I think the San Diego Padres also limit this dude, and it's you can only have him out for these certain situations, which honestly felt kind of stupid at this point.
And then I don't know the manager's name. It's blanking on the top of my head, but he was also the manager.
Mark
yes,
DeRosa.
He is not managing again.
I think Dave Roberts and Rob Thompson 3.0.
I think he's
exactly.
I think he's prepping for Game 4 right now, the WBC. That's what he's
I guess because you're
he
looking
wants
at
to do it again too.
he
which
won't.
scares me
No,
because he's
you got to
awful.
have that like last minute. Like you got to throw your. It's the championship. You got to throw whoever. Like if these guys are really ride or die, like they want to win so bad, they won't care. Like Scooble, like come on, dude. Like you're playing for your country.
Well, let me speak this real quick. I don't think it's mostly on Screwball. I think it's on Boris and his agency because he's set to hit free agency this year. So Screwball, although he's not pitching, I don't think it's mostly his decision. I think it's Scott Boris, and I know the agent he is. He wants his players to get paid. We saw with Rangers Wars this offseason. So I thought, but I still think Screwball should have been a contradicting thing. But I do think it's more on Scott Boris and his agency making that decision than Screwball.
Yeah, but you also got to think if you're going with the agency, what's better than having your player pitch the World Baseball Classic Championship to get his country the win? And then you're going into your final year of a contract with a team where you were Cy Young candidate and winner?
Back-to-back Cy Young winner.
Exactly. So
Aiming
like, you
for his
shouldn't.
third.
Like,
yeah, no, I get that. It's just the thing where it's like Scott Boras is one of these guys where he prioritizes his players' play, and now Screwball actually has some backup in his rotation with Framer Valdez now there. They still have Jack Flaherty. They have Justin Verlander at number 5, which I think is absolutely unbelievable. I know, although he's old, it's still crazy to have Verlander as your 5 in your rotation. And Screwball, like, and that's another thing. Like, I don't know whose decision was him to pitch him against Great Britain. I know they barely beat Great Britain, but for crying out loud, throw him out when you really like. You could have used him against Team Italy, and you would have at least he would have been prioritized in the right way. Or if you had him for one game, don't pitch him all in the pool stage. You obviously survived without him after Great Britain. Say if you could have possibly done it, I would have saved him all the way to the championship because then you would have had a dominant pitching performance. Because Nolan McLean, he didn't do that bad, but he wasn't the best guy out there. And Paul Skeens gave you everything he had. And he's in one of these guys. You mentioned all the young guys that played well. And, man, I thought something I find hilarious. I don't know if you guys saw this. The way Paul Skeens looked at Bobby Witt when he made that play.
There's a good meme going around saying he don't even look at Livy Dunn.
That was funny. Look at Livy Dunn, bro.
Bobby Witt is going to be a big one.
Yeah.
That Bobby Witt, we are not looking at the quarterfinals. We're looking at the pool stages. We're looking at this as a big disappointment and down here. But yeah, no, Team USA definitely a letdown, especially with the power front, the power set of the lineup they had. Like they just it's that top half of the lineup, man. Like they really struggle come the later games.
Yeah, all right. I guess I'll just give my opinion about it now. I'll start with the cons of this team. First off, Tarek Skubal. Honestly, I'm not too pissed off at this dude. I mean, I knew he only had one game and was only allowed to go 55. He went below 50 pitches, and he was only allowed to go for a couple innings. But I understand why he did it, because if this dude is hurt come the regular season, he's losing $200 million. Like, and this is like a big year for him, and it's like, and this is his career on the line. So if like he's hurt, he's losing a hell of a lot of money. And I understand like his decision for it, but like in the end, dude, you're supposed to just go and have fun. Like you're supposed to just hang out with a bunch of other people from the US, you know, just go and support your team, go out there and dominate and just go have fun. I mean, it doesn't mean anything other than you're just winning a world title for your country, and just shows how much you care, that you're proud to be an American. Like that's all I got for him, honestly.
See, I'm like, I don't mean to cut you off, but like, if you're worried about injury and like the money, you saw it. Edwin Diaz a few years ago, he got hurt. He still ended up getting fucking paid. It doesn't like, and I'm sorry, like, you put a really high restriction on this guy, and I'm like, and you can't blame him fully, but there's got to like, if you're willing. And obviously, the two sports are way different. Hockey is a lot more physical than baseball. But man, fucking Hughes getting chipped in the teeth and ended up scoring that overtime winner. Like
that's a legendary photo. That's gonna go down. Screwball, we ain't gonna even remember his pitching against Great Britain. Like
no, because it was such a worthless game. I mean, not worthless. Obviously, it helped them be able to get that seed over Mexico since they lost to Italy. But still, like, and you kept them below his pitch count. But then you got guys like Skeens that are going out there multiple games. Nola for Italy pitching multiple games, showing pride. And I'm not saying School didn't show pride in his country. Obviously, he did. He loved playing for the United States. But they're like a lot of the you're bought in, and like you heard it with the Venezuela guys. They're like, oh, we think this is bigger than the World Series. You saw Salvador Perez be like, I can happily retire now that I won for my country.
Yeah. Saw how
Yeah, no.
Ronald Acuna Jr. was. You know how much this meant to him. You know, he's the people of Venezuela made him who he is. And I feel like that just shows like his ego himself. Like, you know, that builds up a lot on his character. So, we'll have to see. We'll have to see how he comes. Because I know in recent years he's been dealing with a torn ACL last couple years, and he's trying to get back into the swing of things. But you know, back to Tarek Skubal, I don't really have that much for the guy. I mean, I understand why he did it. I know everyone's calling him a coward now just because he couldn't even make another start. Like, they're all just clowning him on the media. And then coming into spring training, I don't know if you guys saw this. The dude gave up 6 hits for the Phillies and only 5 Ks. So
Yep,
we don't
yesterday,
even.
Justin Crawford earns them.
Yeah.
Justin Crawford triple. Alec Boehm hit a double off of him, and Adolis Garcia got an RBI single. I was going to bring up that point. He got and
he was better. He didn't pitch for the United States in that game.
I know, and they had no.
I guess this is what you get for don't pitching in no tournament, Mr. Skubal.
And AJ Hinch had no problem going above his pitch count. I think he pitched over 40 pitches in the third inning alone. So do with that what you will, but
yeah. In the end, I kind of just don't have any words from him. It was his decision. He does what's best for him at the end. Another con, Mark DeRosa. This dude did not look like he put Team USA in like the best situation to win this World Baseball Classic final. He might just genuinely be like one of the worst managers I've seen, on top of Dave Roberts and Rob Thompson. Like that's what he was looking like. Because why on earth, why would you not pitch Mason Miller? Like, even though you knew this guy was in your bullpen, he was ready to give you some innings. Like, and you couldn't even do that. You had to go with Grant Whitlock and then automatically Eugenio Suarez, like RBI double. Like, what are we talking about? I know you have guys up there like Tyler Rogers, Will Vest. I don't think they did anything special. They did fine, in my opinion, but, you know, they got you a couple innings, a couple quick outs, so no notes on them. Clayton Kershaw, I didn't see him once this entire tournament, thank God.
He was a vibes guy. He was sitting there in the dugout drinking beers. Like, yeah, he was there.
he was the Garrett Stubbs of Team USA.
He was just watching. He was kind of a spectator.
Dude was proud to be there.
He's a
like,
legend.
I'm extending my retirement tour a little bit more.
Yeah. I'm just going to have that one exhibition game. That's it. Just be a spectator. Who was the other guy? Bednar, I think, off the Yankees, I'm pretty sure.
David Bednar.
David Bednar. He gave you a couple good outs, too. Even stranded bases loaded jam. You know how fired up he was. He was in the semifinals, I think it was. He looked good, personally, in my opinion. Was he the strongest out of the bullpen? No. But, you know, he did his thing at the end of the day. Another one, Cal Raleigh. Dude, he's coming off of a 60 home run season and has not got a single hit this entire tournament. I understand this dude is a great catcher, but how the hell do you not have a single hit? You're like 0 for 9 in all your at-bats. At this point, yeah, I'm glad DeRosa went with Smith because he can actually hit the ball in the tournament. And in my opinion, he was just the better catcher. You know, him just going back into this regular season now, we'll have to see, again, how Raleigh performs this season. Will this tournament maybe have some effect on his career? Then again, maybe not, because at the end of the day, it doesn't really mean anything for him. Another one I want to talk about, Bryce Harper. I understand he had the 2-run clutch home run, but like he's not been here this entire tournament. Just completely absent, waving and missing, just late on those fastballs. Like, he's putting in like so much energy and effort just to crush one out of the ballpark. well, you can't just obviously like go out there and just swing like that. Like, um, I know he's a good first baseman, but like as a hitter, you gotta like be willing to go out there and just get a pitch that you can handle. Like get something like drive in some RBIs, maybe hit more home runs than just the one you had in the finals. But you know, he's trying to start heating up for spring training. Maybe he can have a better year this season. I know he didn't have the best stuff when he got hit in that surgically repaired elbow against Spencer Strider, and it was just rough coming back from injury, having that elbow brace on. So yeah, I think if he just like builds up more on his like hitting performance, I think he can definitely go back to being the guy that he is. But then I want to talk about some pros. You got Bobby Witt Jr., amazing shortstop, no notes. Dude's just making these diving plays and just give throwing across the diamond like it's nuts. I'm surprised. I'm a little sad they didn't have Trey Turner because I feel like it would have been cool to see him as like a platoon a little bit. But then you have Gunnar Henderson too. He's been good the whole tournament as well. Driving in a couple RBIs, couple homers. PCA, everyday center field in my opinion. The dude, he's young. He's making great defensive plays time after time, showing up, fighting for his country, hitting home runs. Roman Anthony, young left fielder. He's been very good this whole tournament. Um, Schwarber, I don't have like too much about him. He only had the one home run against Great Britain, but like he was absent the entire series. I'm not like too picky about him. I feel like he can
I
have
think I thought he averaged like 280 though. He was
yeah,
getting hits. It
yeah,
wasn't like he was dead. He just wasn't
Yeah,
he didn't have the power he had.
he had a
no.
375 average with 1 home run and 2 RBI.
Yeah, I feel like he was solid in my opinion. Like I know he had a couple RBIs, good batting average. I feel like he was good the entire tournament, but he was upset that he got silver. Just
Who
wasn't
wouldn't be?
the yeah, he just took off that medal right before he made it to the dugout. Just not something you want to see out of him. Hopefully this doesn't impact him. Um, you know, hopefully the fans got his back. Hopefully he can just still be that guy he is, the Schwarbarian, come regular season in a week. But yeah, other than that, Paul Skeens, dominant. Mason Miller, dominant. Just good offense, good rotation all year round, but you know, fell short in the end. Didn't have a lot of momentum. Another thing, Aaron Judge, dude. Like this dude, we nominated this dude for our captain. He's one of the best hitters in the whole league, and he's struggling when the lights are bright on him in these certain situations. He lost many times in the postseason. He couldn't do anything with the bases loaded against the Blue Jays. And then after that Harper 2-run home run, it just felt like one of the most unforgettable moments with him grounding out into a double play. Like, I don't understand. Like this dude is like arguably like one of the best hitters I've seen in my life, and he's just waving and missing it and taking pitches. Like you're Captain Clutch, dude. You got to come up and just give USA some runs and like hopefully give them a lead, but that wasn't the case. So I don't think, in my opinion, he should be back on this team next year. I feel like they got to find a better captain. I don't know if that's what you guys think too, but I feel like when the lights are bright on him, he just slumps and just doesn't come out the way you want him to.
Yeah, no, definitely. And we kind of should have known it was over when a New York player was carrying out an American flag. You know, the last time that happened, that was Aaron Rodgers. But I do like the point you bring up at the end. I think in a few years down the road, I like Joe, the thing you said, like he might be one of those guys where he's not playing as much and stuff like that. I think he's going to be one of those guys who he'll be pinch hit for a lot. I think it's going to be the influx of these new players. I think your candidate should be either Gunnar Henderson, Bobby Witt, or Roman Anthony, because Roman Anthony's still young. Have him in a few years, he could be dominant. Bobby Witt is going to continue to be dominant. I have him winning the batting title this year. I think he can be great again. And then you have Gunnar Henderson, who the Orioles are a stronger team this year. I think he's going to continue to get better. They can get back to the playoffs. That's only going to help him more. And then it's the influx of new guys. Paul Skeens with the Pirates. Connor Griffiths, I think, should be called up by the Pirates this year and be playing. Let's see how he plays. Maybe he could be on Team USA a few years down the road. And we're going to see it with basketball too with Team USA. The influx of new younger players there. It's just going to it's going to be a reset because these guys are getting older and aren't as impactful. Just USA as a whole, I'm kind of just disappointed in them because, like, yes, I was happy when Harper hit that home run, but like, just watching these other teams, like, there was pure enjoyment in watching them, and USA gave absolutely no energy whatsoever. Like, it looked like they really could care less. It was just a business trip for them, which, like, showing that is, like, I think, like, a terrible sign. And it's like USA, like, everyone was watching them for a reason. It's like they really didn't look dominant, and I know you can't look dominant at everything, but there were signs early on that they could be beaten by anyone, I think, when it came after the pool stage. And it just happened with Venezuela. Venezuela was that team this year that just had it more, and it took them all the way to the championship, which they deserved to win and ultimately won. Because you can't expect until the 8th inning to put up runs and expect to win the game. It's that plain and simple. So, but as we wrap things up here, the last question I have for both of you guys is, what are you looking forward to / expecting for the next WBC? That as of right now, the expectation is it's going to be March 2030 because with COVID and everything, it's usually a 4-year gap, but they had to do a 3-year gap. So I think it's expected for March 2030 or maybe 2029. But as a whole, what are you expecting the most going into the next WBC and looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to another great tournament. It's always fun to see everybody play for their country, and definitely looking forward to the idea of the ABS system coming into this next tournament.
Yeah, just piggybacking what off Joe said again. I'm just happy. It's always a great tournament to watch. Everybody coming together, playing for their country, getting a world title. Um, getting a couple young guys in the lineup, especially also in the bullpen. Bring some of the prospects up here. You're gonna see how they're gonna do in the MLB or regular season, maybe even the minor leagues. You can call them up and just see their performance and just have them shine on the biggest stages in the world. You know, I think that's definitely one thing to consider. Also, again, ABS challenge. Just because when you're a home plate umpire, just calling balls and strikes behind the plate, you can't just miss them like that, man. Especially against the Dominican Republic. I know how frustrated they were, and they ended up falling short. But MLB's doing it this year. Minor leagues have been doing it for a couple years now. Why not do it in the next couple years, and then hopefully you'll see how much better it is come time after time.
Yeah, no, definitely. The thing looking forward to the most is possibly the ability for new teams, because I know they talked about it a little bit. Like, the teams that really didn't perform, like Czech, they might be out of the whole thing as a whole, and who they replace them with, I think it'll be very interesting because they want to have the best competition in there. Teams like Czech and Brazil, they finished 0-4, so I want to see what they want to do with that. Which is basically what you guys said. I'm looking forward to more fun action, and in a few years, how these influx of new players will be implemented and who will ultimately prevail. Will Venezuela be able to continue their dominance? Will other teams prevail? Will Dominican Republic dominate all the way through and get that championship, or can USA finally prevail with a new influx of players? I'm very interested to see what happens. So, but this is all we have for you guys when it comes to the WBC recap. But as Joe usually does, I know we kind of talked about it when we did the episode on Wednesday. But Joe, what's to look forward to coming up?
Yeah, opening day less than a week away. Thursday, Phillies Rangers. Zach, I know he's gonna go down there do some interviews for you guys, so look forward to that. Always good to interact with some of the fans. And thank you to Justin for coming on today and giving us your thoughts on the WBC. Always a pleasure to have a guest on. Usually, I'm not always on.
It's good seeing you, Joe. It's good to finally see you. Yeah. Appreciate you guys having me on, though. I really do appreciate this.
Yeah.
I'm very happy for the intro I made for you guys. Hopefully this is a start for both of our careers again. This is something to look at and just show other people, get collaborating, and just see where our future upholds to.
Yeah, No, definitely. Like I said, this is all we have for you guys. We will talk to you when you talk to Zach, Joe, and Justin signing off. We'll talk to you guys later. Peace.